So here's the question. What happens if I stop stopping? I can tell you this, absolutely everything. Hello and welcome to Perspectives. I'm Randy Taylor, founder of Taylormade Leadership, creator of The Winner Within and Elevate training and development programs, and author of The Lost Journals and Elevate, and an eternal believer in your ability to become absolutely anything that you could imagine. So all of the study that I have done for almost 40 years now into the science of human behavior can be boiled down into two simple words. Here they are. Stop, stopping. If you can accomplish that and become the person who stops stopping, then absolutely everything, I promise, will change for you. A question that I've been asking audiences for 15 years is a question that I'll ask you right now. If I set a goal, find out what's necessary to achieve it, begin to invest in the activity, and if I don't stop, is pretty much any goal possible, short of being center for the Knicks, right? But is pretty much any goal possible? What's your answer? The answer of tens of thousands of people for 15 years has been yes. People say yes, any goal is possible. If I set the goal, find out what's necessary to achieve it, begin to invest in the activity, and I don't stop, then yes. To which case I say, gotcha. You just told me that you can have any goal if you don't stop. And so in going through this process, we can easily say that there are millions of people every day who do not achieve goals. Have you had goals in the past that you have not achieved? What's your answer? Well, the answer is, if you're honest, of course, it's happened to all of us. But the reality of what happens is almost identical in the process for every one of us. And here is an exact illustration that I will provide to you of what happens to every one of us when we do not achieve a goal. So obviously I'm going to have to set a goal. So I'm going to set the goal to go across the room here in the office and turn off all the lights. Okay, now I've set the goal, much like you set your goal. Now, the next step in the process is to find out what is necessary to achieve it. So obviously I have to begin to move towards my target, to the light switches on the far side of the room. As I'm moving toward my target, there may be stools in the way and some of the video equipment that is set up here. There's wires on the floor, and as I'm moving towards my target, the economy may turn down and a client may cancel, and I may end up with a big car repair bill, or my son falls out of a tree and breaks his arm, and I get partway towards my goal, and I make this decision and say, I didn't know all those things were going to happen. Forget it, I quit. I stop. Now I'm never taking another step. I just gave up my goal. True? That is exactly what happens to you and I and everyone at that moment in time when the goal becomes unattainable, when we make the decision for no forward motion. I stopped. Now I gave up the goal. So then we have to ask, what was it? It had to be something different for Randy than it was for Dave, that it was for Susan or for Amir. No. What stopped me and what stopped all of us and what stopped you is identical. It's the exact same thing. What was it? What stopped me? And if you were here in the office, you would see there was really nothing physical preventing me. And for you as well, there was nothing physical preventing you from achieving the goal. Yet you stopped. And here's what stopped me. And here's what stops you and what stops everyone. Nothing more than a thought. And when I'm talking about this in front of large conferences, and I deliver this information, and you can see the look on everyone's face around the auditorium, and they're mulling this over in their mind and saying, what? I give up my goals because of a thought? Yes. There was nothing physical there. So then we have to go back and examine this process and say, well then, what was it? What is the thought? Here it is. Scientifically described, a thought is the recall of information based on a past experience in a file in the subconscious mind that is no longer here. So the reason then that I gave up my goal is a hologram of a memory of an experience that is no longer here. Is that true? Yes, it is. When I was a kid growing up in poverty and parent alcoholism, and got off the bus, lived in the country alone one day, and went to the front door and looked through the little diamond-shaped window on the front door, and it was locked. And ours was not the kind of house you would lock. And I looked through the diamond-shaped window, and I could see my mother's body lying face down on the floor and a big pool of blood around her head. And I ran around the back, and I got in, and of course I'm panicking, and I called the neighbor who lived about a half a mile away, who was a nurse, who came over to help me, and we found out that it wasn't a suicide threat made good on. She'd gotten drunk and fallen and hit her nose on the coffee table, and blood everywhere, and passed out. Bad memory? Sure, right? Of course. Possible that that memory could impact how I approach life and family and relationships today? Maybe. But here's the question. Look around. Do you see my mother? No. She's not here. She's gone. And so is that memory. And that's my point to you, is that so is yours. Those memories, the files in the subconscious mind that we keep accessing when we have a thought, when you begin to work on this and you get better and better and better at it, of becoming the observer, and when you're in a situation and you hear that voice in your head that says it's not going to work, stop and say, wait a second, where does that come from? Right? The rationale that I shouldn't do this. Oh, that was 2 weeks ago, that was 2 years ago, that was 2 jobs ago. Yet I'm basing my decisions on the hologram of a memory of an experience, right, that has nothing to do with this moment in time. And when we start judging the moment by the moment and the day by the day and our life by our life in this moment in time, then absolutely everything begins to change, and we become that person that begins to stop stopping. So thank you again very much for joining us for this edition of Perspectives. If you would like to find out and get notifications of more coming up, click on the subscribe button here below the video player. Would love to have you part of our family, and for sure, if you would like to share this with any family or friends, by all means, hit the share button and do that as well. For Perspectives, again, I'm Randy Taylor. On behalf of everyone at TaylorMade Leadership, thank you. Have an amazing day, and be well.